Live from LumberJillville, USA, it's the Bong Goodnight Show. Tonight's Easter episode will have a very special guest, Robo Tamina. Now, put your hands together and give it up for your host, Mayor Aaron.
And welcome to this very special Easter episode of the Bing Bong Goodnight Show, hosted by me, Mayor Aaron. Now, we have a really special guest tonight with some special surprises for all of y'all. But, I don't know anyone out there if you've been watching NXT at all. But, yeah, the new rumor is that Wendy Choo is actually going to join Toxic Attraction. Yeah, they're going to change their team name to the Drama Mean Girls. Get it? Because Drama Mean makes you sleepy, and Mean Girls, Toxic Attraction. Alright, you know what? Maybe we'll cut the monologue out. My audience is looking pretty dead. Now let's go ahead and bring out our guest. She is the head of security here in LumberJillville, has the best heart of all the Total Mattel girls, and is truly one of my best friends. So while we bring her on out here, everyone put your hands together for Robo Tamina! Oh, hey! Hey, you know there was a doorbell you could have used? Okay, but anyway, welcome to the show, Robo Tamina.
Thank you for having me. I was wondering when I would get a chance.
I know. We've already had Co-Mayor Alexa as a guest on the first episode. Then we had Diva Marie as a guest. But I wanted to save the best for last. But I have to say, Robo Tamina, I'm a little bit disappointed you didn't dress up for Easter.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot.
Oh God! Robo Tamina, I've told you time and time again, that is Frank the Rabbit from Donnie Darko. Not a very good depiction of the Easter Bunny.
I think it is a beautiful depiction.
No! Why don't you take that mask off? Because I think I peed a little. Definitely did. But either way, when she gets that mask off, we have a special surprise for all you viewers at home. That's right, Robo Tamina and I are going to do our very own Easter egg hunt. You excited for this, Robo Tamina?
Ready for it, but I already hunted, gathered, and eliminated the eggs.
Oh, wait, what? The producers were going to hide all the eggs, then they were going to time us as we attempted to find all the eggs, and then we were going to have a winner. It was actually a really promising segment we were going to have on the show.
I used my egg scanner tech and found them quickly, but have no fear, they are destroyed.
Destroyed? Oh, hold on, I'm getting word from the producer. Uh-huh. Oh, apparently she found the eggs. Yeah, go ahead, roll the clip. Robo Tamina, that is not what I meant when I said egg hunt. You took it way too literal. I mean, if I took you figure hunting, what would you do? Destroy all the figures?
Affirmative.
Okay, I guess we'll just scrap that segment. But you know what? Let's talk about you. Why don't you let the viewers all know exactly what you do?
I am Robo Tamina. I am here to protect LumberJillville.
Yes, you do. And I have to tell y'all, she does a great job at that. Remember back in Jilloween? Yeah, she once actually exploded Demon Trish. There's blood everywhere. Blah. It was crazy. But why don't you let them know what else you do?
Well, I do perimeter checks, serve as a town security camera, have a laser death ray, and I also delete Mayor Aaron's browser history.
Show's over. Oh, look, we ran out of time. But anyway, we have a figure review to do today of Championship Showdown Series 9 2-packs, Sasha Banks and Bayley. I'm real excited for this one, y'all.
Thank you for having me, Mayor Aaron.
And thanks for coming on the show, Robo Tamina. And thank you to everyone that tuned in to this very special episode of the Bing Bong Goodnight Show. Now, anytime there's going to be a Bayley figure review, there will be a new episode of the Bing Bong Goodnight Show. Have a good night, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the review. welcome to LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here. Now, welcome to today's very exciting review of WWE Championship Showdown Series 9, Sasha Banks versus Bayley. Now, I have to be honest with y'all. I got two of these. My daughter wanted to open hers yesterday, and I was blown away. So I am going to open this one today and let y'all get a closer look, but this is shockingly pretty dang amazing. So without further ado, let's take a closer look. Alright, so let's start off with the packaging here, and I have to be honest with you, this Championship Showdown packaging looks pretty freaking spectacular MOC. Now, I did get to open up one yesterday for my daughter. She played with it, and in this one we're going to open up for the review, but I'm definitely going to search for this to keep MOC, if not order another one to keep MOC, because this looks stunning, and it's really cool that this represents such a historic match between Sasha and Bayley at Hell in a Cell 2020. And yeah, it's just really cool to have this match represented here in this 2-pack. So taking a close look at the packaging here, obviously we have this display stand, which we'll cover. I'm still not a big fan. I think the idea is great, but the execution not so much. But we'll cover that after we cover the figures. Then we have the figures here, Sasha and Bayley, looking pretty good. We have their photos at the bottom, and then that Championship Showdown logo, which looks pretty nice. And at the top of the package here, it shows kind of what you can do with that display stand, but I'll show you later. It actually is rather limited. Not much purpose to it, in my opinion. Now, we turn this around here, and what's really cool is we have kind of the matchup, the fight matchup screen between Bayley and Sasha Banks. It says where they're from, their finishing move, and also their style. So, yeah, this is a pretty cool thing to keep MOC, but obviously we want to take a closer look at these figures. So, let's rip it open. I don't know why I said it like that. We'll just go with it. We'll just go with it. And what's cool is obviously this Hell in a Cell 2020 match, they were fighting for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and that's why we have this display stand. So we take that out. We take the figures out here. We have those little arms for the display stand included, and then these should pop right out. Bayley's free and Sasha's free, so let's take a closer look. WWE Championship Showdown Series 9 2-pack Sasha Banks vs. Bayley. This attire is from the Hell in a Cell 2020 pay-per-view, which took place on October 25th in the Thunderdome. On this night, Sasha Banks would defeat Bayley in a memorable Hell in a Cell match to become the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Alright, so my overall first impressions of this 2-pack, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm blown away by these two figures. Now, obviously, we're going to cover these up close and really look at the details, but I've said this time and time again. I know the basics haven't been the best, especially for the females, but they can be, and I think if they put the effort and the attention to detail in the women's basics, they can do a good job, and I feel like they really nailed it and really did that here, so I'm really excited to review this today, especially two of my favorite superstars in WWE, so I'm pretty ecstatic just looking at these. Now, with that being said, let's first start off taking a closer look at Sasha Banks, looking at that face scan. Alright, so right off the bat, the first thing I noticed is they did go with that darker shade of blue that we saw in that Basic Series 128, which is definitely a significant improvement over Elite Series 83, where that blue was a brighter, more unrealistic, whereas this darker blue really does a good job of looking pretty dang spot on to what her hair color should be. And this face scan is the face scan that we've seen in Elite 83. Now, I'll do a side-by-side comparison with Elite 83, this figure, and also Basic 128, because it seems like the same scan through those three figures. But for some reason, the way it's printed on this Basic, it looks by far the best out of all three of those figures for me. Even if it looks the same, the way it's printed on is just clean. It looks amazing. It looks awesome. And this is definitely the best likeness I have in my collection as far as Sasha Banks figures go. And I do think that that scan that they've used recently with that Elite 83 and Basic 128 is far superior to any of her previous figures. So yeah, the scan is great. It looks really nice. And I really like how they went with that dark blue color. Now, that would be nice if down the road they would add some more detail to the coloring of her hair, maybe add some black roots in there, something to make it look more realistic. That's something I've been complaining about for a while, is that the female's hair is usually just one solid color, and they could really benefit here if they added some black streaks or something to make it look a lot more real. However, it's important to note that the Elite 93 Raquel Gonzalez does have a couple different tones in the hair color. So, yeah. But yeah, this face, the hair, it's great. Now, let's move on to the attire, which I think is a standout feature. Alright, so moving on to the attire, y'all, this attire pops. It looks so beautiful, so stunning, and I know it's just a plain white attire with silver accents, but either way, it was a good choice for them to go with this, because they can do it justice. in basic form. She's had a lot of extravagant gear designs in the past that we just haven't got it all in figure form that I'd like to see in Elite or Ultimate form. But here I think they went with a safe and smart choice. Now the first thing I'm going to notice, and I'm sure a lot of people notice, which is a brand new feature for her, well we'll get to that, is these rubber molded on arm straps, I guess you'd call them. And y'all, this is a game changer. It actually looks pretty dang amazing. I'm not sure how these come off. I'm going to be completely honest with you. You might be able to stretch them off, but this cuff looks like it's pretty snug around the wrist. Maybe boil the hands, remove the hand, and maybe it'll slide off. But I would keep it on because this piece is pretty awesome. I could definitely see some talented customizers out there putting these on previous Sasha figures and painting them up, and I'm excited to see that. But yeah, these molded arm straps look pretty freaking amazing. They look perfect on her. It's definitely an improvement over the painted straps. However, what if I told you this was not the first time a Sasha Banks figure had the molded straps? Now let me show you Exhibit A here. And it's the Sasha Banks, I guess, Superstars figure. It's kind of a girly Barbie looking figure. I got these for my daughter before she started wanting the real things. And yeah, this figure has molded on straps, which I thought was a pretty cool idea. Maybe not the best execution here on this figure, but I thought that was a cool idea, and I wanted to see that in the main line of Basics and Elites. And here we finally get that, and I can't say enough how amazing it looks. So looking on at the attire, yes, this is one of the situations where the attire is just painted on with no molding, but it works good for Sasha. She wears very tight attire, and this is painted very cleanly. We have that white top painted on with intricate metallic silver accents. Moving it to the back here, we have the stripes painted on white, which look good. Straps, I don't know if I said stripes, but anyway, they look good. We have Sasha Banks on her backside there with that metallic silver. And on the front, we have these really nice intricate silver designs. We even have these little blue, I guess, top of her knee pad sleeves, I don't know what you'd call them, but it is very accurate to that night. And that little blue accent is awesome. It looks so good on this figure. I can't get over it. And the knee pads are nice, little silver accent on there. And then the kick pads and boots are white with also really intricate silver designs on the side and also legit boss on her kick pads there. So this is what I mean when I say that they can do a great job with women's basics when they put attention to detail, because y'all, it's here. It's here. It might not be completely accurate, especially in the back compared to what she wore that night, but y'all, this is almost spot on, and this is definitely one of the basics, one of the best basics I've ever seen, I've ever reviewed in LumberJillville. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a huge Sasha fan. This basic is absolutely killer. It's amazing. It's definitely a must and need Sasha figure. Now, let's do a little comparison here next between her most recent figures released. Alright, now we'll do a little side-by-side comparison. On the far left, we have Elite Series 83. And yes, that did come with a hard molded rubber jacket and also her glasses and her knuckle rings. So that's important to note. It does come with really cool accessories. This middle Basic Series 128 is kind of in her promo attire, I guess. And on the right here, we obviously have the Showdown 2-pack figure we're looking at today. Now, these three are the most recent Sasha Banks figures released, and I do think they're probably the three best out of all of her figures released, and she's had quite a bit. So, narrowing it down to her best figure, it definitely comes down to these three. Now, as much as I like the idea of having her in promo attire, I don't think they went with the best choice here. I think it looks weird. And like I mentioned, if you look at the face scans, it's like it was supposed to be the same, but it doesn't look the same. So, I don't know if that's how y'all's basic looks. I have two basic 128 Sashas, and they both have a weird kind of scan. And when you compare it here to this Showdown 2-pack basic, I mean, this blows it out of the water. Now, it is the same scan as that Elite 83, and I think it looks by far the best. Now, something else you might be able to notice, you might not if you're colorblind like your boy, is that Elite 83 has bright blue hair. Bright blue hair, didn't look very accurate, looks way too cartoony. They fixed it with that basic 128, and they used it again here on this Showdown 2-pack basic. So she's had some pretty cool figures her last few, but if I had to choose which one's the best, I mean, it's kind of a tie between Elite Series 83 on the left here. Let's go ahead and get that out of there. Elite Series 83 on the left, and then that Championship Showdown 2-pack on the right. But if you're looking for one that really pops on the shelf, I mean, y'all, that Championship Showdown 2-pack one, that you know what? Yeah, that's my favorite Sasha Banks I have in my collection, and I have all of her figures, and that one's my favorite. You know, some may prefer the Elite 83 because of those cool accessories she comes with, and it is a really good figure, don't get me wrong, it's pretty awesome, but something about that all white and how it's painted on so intricate and clean, and those arm straps, it's my favorite Sasha figure. I can't say enough good about it. Now that love fest is over, let's move on to Bayley. Alright, so moving on to Bayley's face sculpt and scan here. Now, this is the exact same sculpt and scan that we saw in that Survivor Series Elite, and in my opinion, it's the best healed depiction of Bayley that we've gotten in figure form. Now, I say that because that SummerSlam Basic and Elite Series 80 actually had a different sculpt and scan, and even though I liked it initially, after a while and comparing it to this, I really am not a huge fan. Now, I will do a side-by-side of that SummerSlam Basic, Survivor Series Elite, and this figure so you can kind of see and compare and know what I'm talking about. Also, what's different about this figure than those previous ones is the hair sculpt. The hair sculpt is the same as the Survivor Series, but different than the previous heel Baileys we saw. And this sculpt is parted down the center, and it's that bob style, whatever you want to call it. And it does look really good. Now, what I'd like to see down the road, maybe in the next Elite of Bayley, is I'd like to see that hair kind of go up in the back and have something printed on the back that would simulate, you know, something being shaved in the back, like a design or words or something that she's done, like Bayley Doe straps or something like that. I think that would be a really cool addition, and hopefully we see that in her next Elite. But either way, like I mentioned, this is the best heel depiction of Bayley that we have so far, in my opinion. I think this scan's kind of a hit or miss for people. I think some people love it, some people hate it. I prefer it. I think it looks really good. I like it. I like how it's a really determined looking Bayley. I also like how that eyeliner goes on the bridge of her nose. It's a nice little addition, and I think it's great. Now, it is important to note that she's had some pretty killer face scans when she was a baby face and face sculpts that really showed a lot of emotion that were really, really cool. But as far as heel Bayley, I think this is the best depiction we got. Now let's move on to her attire. Alright, so moving on down to Bayley's attire here. Now, just like Sasha, I think this is the part of the figure that really stands out and is the best eye-catching part about this figure. And also, this is a perfect example, just like the Sasha, that shows that Mattel can knock it out of the park and do an excellent job with these women's basics, even with minimal cost, just by having accurate paint application and have attention to detail included. And that's what we get here. There's very little sculpting, but there's a lot of attention to detail with that paint application. And that's what they need to do to really make these women's basics great again. So if you're looking at this attire here, like I mentioned, there's not a whole lot of sculpting going on. There's a little bit between the chest, but that works here because that top is painted on in the general shape of the top that she wore that night. The straps are painted in the back there. And what's really cool is that Bayley logo is painted on very cleanly in a gray. And it has little silver intricate studs painted around that logo and even on the top and around the midsection of that top. Now, she has like wrist tape that's just painted on, goes up through her hands, but it looks good. It looks good. It definitely works for that. Now, what really I thought was awesome are these capri style pants that they painted. So obviously they don't have a female capri style pant mold, so I thought, what are they going to do here? And what they did was pretty freaking genius and intuitive. So right off the bat, you can see that they painted on the little silver buckles to make it look like she's wearing a belt. I mean, that's fine. That can work. She has this little design on the side. Now, what I thought was really cool is on this night, she wore like capri-type pants. They kind of looked bunched up, but I was looking at images, and the reason they look like that is she had knee pads underneath those pants. So it kind of got, you know, thick toward the bottoms. And here, they added black knee pads, and it looks perfect, honestly. At first, I was like, did they put knee pads to make them look like they're pulled up capris? But no, in the match, she had knee pads underneath those capris, so having them on the outside here, it works, and it looks pretty freaking awesome, to be honest with you. And then they gave her these short combat-type boots. So, yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, this just shows that Mattel can make awesome women's basics, even with the minimal cost put into them that I know they're set on doing. You know, they've really taken cost-cutting measures to the women's basics. But this and the Sasha are perfect examples of women's basics that can be done right. Alright, so now let's do a little side-by-side. On the way left, we have that SummerSlam Basic Bayley. In the middle, we have that Survivor Series Elite. And obviously on the right, we have that Championship Showdown 2-pack Bayley we're looking at today. So, for me, it's a pretty easy decision as to which figure I think is the best heel depiction of Bayley, and that's the Survivor Series Elite, in my opinion, by far. Not only is the articulation and attention to detail superior to the other figures, but the accessories that she comes with is unbelievable. I believe this won the award for Best Accessories for the Jillies 2021. I mean, that headpiece, that white soft goods jacket, and the SmackDown Women's title. This figure is truly one of the best, so I do think that is the best. However, I do think this Championship Showdown 2-pack Bayley is pretty freaking awesome. It's pretty neat to have her depicted from that match. But like I mentioned before, these two, the Survivor Series and the Showdown 2-pack scan and sculpt, is different than what we saw in Elite 80 and the SummerSlam Basic Bayley. Now, looking at the hair sculpt, she kind of has it off to the side here. It's also a little more round here on the Elite 80 and the SummerSlam Basic. It's pretty similar, but there's a little bit of difference here. And on this Survivor Series and also the Showdown, it's kind of flat on the sides. Now, I think that was designed this way, so that headpiece that she comes with, that Elite, fits on. But I think it looks fine. You know, it is kind of nice that the hair kind of goes out like it should for the bob. But here it kind of goes straight down. But I think it works fine. I think it's kind of a matter of opinion for which hair you like better. Now, as far as scan goes, like I said, that Elite 80 and SummerSlam have a different scan and sculpt. You know, it's got a nice little evil smirk, but I don't know. It kind of looks weird. It kind of does look weird. You know, like I said, I liked it at first, but after having it at my desk and checking it out all the time, this is one of my figures I have on my desk. You know, I don't think it's bad by any means, but I really don't think it's that great. And when you compare it to this newer scan and sculpt, I think this one is definitely the best face you can get for a heel Bayley. So yeah, if you're looking to get what I think is the best Bayley, I think by far that Survivor Series Bayley's awesome. However, I do think the Showdown 2-pack is a must-buy because Sasha and Bayley both had such iconic looks, and Mattel honestly knocked it out of the park with this 2-pack. Alright, so now let's take a closer look at this, I guess you'd call it a gimmick that comes with the Championship Showdown 2-packs. Now, it's important to note that early in the series, it came with 2 side plates that also served as display stands that represented each of the superstars included in the 2-pack. But that was a big fail, in my opinion. So those were meant to go in a large, specific WWE toy title belt. But the problem is, when you put them in the title belt, you'd have one superstar represented on one side, and the other side would be representing the other superstar. And it was very weird because that's not accurate. So if you wanted to have 2 of the same superstar represented in that title, you'd have to get 2 of the same Showdown 2-pack. And on top of that, they just had 1 toy title, I believe. So they didn't have the variety of titles that you could do that with. So that was a big fail. So they moved on to this. Now, the coolest thing about it is the display stand itself does represent the championship that the wrestlers were competing for in the 2-pack. So here we get the SmackDown Women's Championship. The Charlotte and Rhea Ripley 2-pack came with an NXT Women's Championship display stand. So I think that's a pretty cool idea. I like that. But I think the best way to use this is to use the foot peg holes, if I could figure out where they go, and just stand Sasha and Bayley here on it. I think it looks fine. Now, it does take up a lot of space, to be honest with you, but I think as far as presentation goes, this looks pretty good. You can even angle them toward each other. But let's get to the part that I think is kind of a missed opportunity here. And that's what this is really featured on the box and everything, having this dynamic play style. So it comes with these 4 plastic pieces. These 2 arms and then these 2 clamps. Now, these arms can go anywhere in this, okay, any which way you desire. And then the clamps go around the superstars. You can kind of put them in dynamic poses, but we'll get to that. So these clamps can go in this way or even this way, and you could really make them in all different directions. So for the sake of showing you, I'll do it normal here, and I'll put it down here. That stays pretty good. And here, instead of going straight in the side, we'll do this kind of up pose, okay, and we'll put that here. I don't want to go all the way over here because it's going to look really bizarre. Trust me, just wait. Just wait. So that goes in there snug. Now, right off the bat, I have to say, this is pretty flimsy. It's kind of cheap. If this display stand was heavy, then I could see some really cool things going on with this. But unfortunately, we don't really get that. So what we're going to do is we're going to have Bayley here, okay? She's going to be kind of hanging out. And like I said, she's barely not tipping this thing over, I tell you what. And then Sasha's going to be doing a drop kick. Okay, now I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be completely transparent with all you viewers. I didn't expect it to look this awesome. This looks freaking cool. Okay, this completely eliminates the script that I wrote. This looks awesome. Okay, so the reason I didn't like these arms is they are very flimsy, and this thing is very unstable. Very unstable. Now, given if you have it on a nice flat surface and you position them right, you'd be okay. But for the most part here, the little plastic arms and the clasps are kind of a waste. But, I mean, I guess I'm going to eat my own words and say that this actually looks kind of neat. Like, if we have Bayley, like, kind of reacting to this, and then we turn Sasha a little bit here. I mean, that looks cool. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like I said, I completely was going to tear apart this gimmick, but I guess you can do cool poses. And I know one of my complaints was that basic figures don't have good articulation, so why would they be included with these dynamic display stands that you could put them in all these moves when the figures themselves can't do them without the stands? But here, I guess you can do some kind of neat moves, you know? So, yeah, I'm going to eat my words here, and I'm going to take back what I said and say that these display stands can be cool if you find the right pose. And I think this looks pretty awesome, to be honest with you. And here's one last look at WWE Championship Showdown 2-Pack Series 9. Bayley versus Sasha Banks. So real quick, I just wanted to show you that this Sasha Banks, if you include a SmackDown Women's Championship with her, oh my god, this is one of the best looking figures with the championship that I have in my collection. I'm just blown away by how awesome this is. Now, it's important to note that this 2-pack doesn't come with this title, but I do have quite a few, so yeah, this figure looks spectacular, holding the championship that she won on this night. Alright, so I'm going to give these figures individual scores and then a combined score for the 2-pack itself. Now, remember, my basic scoring scale is different. It's not on the same scale that I do with my Elites or my AEW Unrivaled or Unmatched, so keep that in mind. So that being said, I give Championship Showdown 2-pack Series 9 Sasha Banks an overall score of a 9.5 out of 10. This figure's amazing, and like I said, this is a true depiction of how these women's basics can succeed and can be amazing figures in their own right when Mattel puts the attention, the detail, and the effort into the figure. So this Sasha is truly one of the best Sashas we have. I think it's in competition with the Elite Series 83, and that says quite a bit about this figure. Also, the update on those molded straps is awesome, and I like that they gave her the darker blue-colored hair that we saw in Basic 128. That's a lot more lifelike, so this Sasha is tremendous. It is a tremendous figure, one of the best basics I've ever reviewed on the channel. Now, moving on to Bayley, I have Bayley an overall score of an 8.5 out of 10. I once again think they did an excellent job with her figure. I think the likeness is good. I like that they reused the Survivor Series Elite scan and sculpt and hair. I think that works good. And I also think they did a great job on the attire here. They really used a lot of their intuition, I guess you could say, to make the attire look as close as it can to the real attire with minimal cost put into it. And yeah, what we have here is a pretty dang cool Bayley, but I don't think it's in competition for the best heel Bayley figure. Like I said, I think that Survivor Series Elite is by far the best, but it's a good Bayley figure. So combined, I give Championship Showdown 2-pack Series 9 Sasha Banks versus Bayley an overall score of a 9 out of 10. This 2-pack's amazing, it really is, and what really highlights it is it represents such a significant match between the two, and they do a great job depicting their attires from the night, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. So even if you're not a basic figure collector, which I know there's not a lot out there, but if you're not a basic figure collector, but you have any interest in women's wrestling or women's wrestling figures, get this. Pre-order it from Ringside Collectibles and get this because this is a true beauty and a true work of art. Thanks for stopping by LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here. For a first look at all future women's wrestling figure reviews, make sure to hit subscribe and become an official resident today. Also hit that bell for notifications so you know when I post my next video. Side note, Basic Series 131 Candice LeRae, both versions should be here this coming Monday, so look for that review Tuesday morning. Now with all of that aside, I hope y'all have a great Easter, stay safe, and most of all, I hope y'all have a great night, y'all.